We're back! Yes! Woo! Let's go! So this is going to be a long one because... because I remember watching Fairytail, and I have watched the entire Fairytail, so I think like 3 times, and the original Fairytail has 100 episodes, more than 100 episodes. I'm like, geez. I love Fairytail. Do I forget certain points? Yes. Do I love the whole story? Love every single arc? Yes. I like it so much. I know a lot of people said it's all about like friendship gives me power and like fair, but I get it. I get the emotion. I get this. There's certain moments that I love so badly through this, and I love how it ends. And like me saying this makes me want to be like, do you know what? For the next couple of days, I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna watch Fairytail. 1 episode a night, every single day. Just 1 episode. I'm like, oh, that'll take me so long. But I am so tempted to actually do it. This is so good, and I so love it. It is a series that I love, and when it came back to this, I'm like, wait, I remember this. Because if I'm correct, this is like, you have the moment in the original series where, I think it's Gildad comes back, and it's like, oh, you have to move it down. You have to fully like just rearrange it down because he's so destructive. It's like, this I think was the quest he was on that like had him lose his arm, if I'm not mistaken. And because of that, I love it. I love the character. I love it all. It is so fun with it all. With, like, the arm. And I think they talked about the 100YearQuest being something. So they've already introduced it. And I love it. How they're bringing it back. They're also bringing back other points. And how they develop it is so fun. So yeah. So overall, the idea of the 100YearQuest 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is they have to kill certain dragons, right? That's the idea. You're killing certain dragons so that overall, the overall of it all, the bigger picture is that they sort of like would like mean that there will be a danger, sort of like I think Acnilogia, which was the final sort of major threat in the last series, the major dragon that sort of like Natsu defeated in the last series. So we're going to have 5 of these, and that's what I love, because throughout sort of like Fairytail, you dealt with powerful wizards going into demons, and then you dealt with a dragon. And the one thing I like about this goes, you have a dragon, now we have 5. And it's like, the amount of like stuff that you have through all the series, through all the villains, in a way. I like the idea, simplicity is like, we're not going to create, because like dragons were always seen as this big force, and they disappeared at the beginning, even though like dragons don't exist because like etc etc, but they seen as such this big threat that like we're not going to create another like, oh, by the way, we've had this secret. There was a race of this who were even more powerful than dragons. They're like, instead of doing that, we're just going to say that there's more. Which, that's the problem, is that there's a lot of them. And, like, dragons were built up in, like, the original series to be this so powerful that 5 might actually be a problem, you know? And that I like. I also like that eventually one of the things that they do is they have a thing where, like, you have the hypnosis thing, perhaps, I don't know why I thought about it for some reason, but you go to, because one of the arcs is them going to an alternative version of the world. Everyone's the opposite, which is hilarious. And then you also have, and there's like, this is the world with like near no magic naturally, and they had their own stories about that, about like trying to sort of like regain this sort of magic in this world. And the end decision was, one, these were more natural in Edlius, but they, because of them studying the magic, you, one, have this story, two, have more of this, three, because each one of them are like having a sort of like a fire, a dragon style of magic, and each one of them had one of these. Like, this is Natsu's, this is Wendy's. Like, that was a whole joke, because you had the one other time, which I forgot his name, who has iron. It was like, oh, I didn't have one, and I was like, oh. So he has his whole thing, which I like, which overall that happened. But I like that we came back to it, which is fun, because of like they're having some dots, and there's a heaven scene where you have two characters supposedly got reset, not reset, but like reincarnated in a way that's like they kind of didn't remember who they were, which I also liked as the end, where it's like, yeah, they had a chance to actually be someone, because maybe if stuff were different, they would have been together. And it's so dark with the curses. But overall, I feel like this introduces an interesting look at all of them, at all of the different characters. But overall, it's just fun. But yeah, this is one of the series that I was excited to do, and it does do really well with building the story. And at this moment in time, there's 5 dragons that I need to sort of like take care of, and 2 of them have sort of been killed. You still have 3 left. So I'm gonna see, is it gonna be 2 series? Because like the last one, they just dealt with more and more. Like, you didn't really have, here's the main plot, and then here's the end. It's quest after quest after quest, just dealing with another scenario. The overall scenario is just basically fairy tale as it goes. And I love one person who said this, and I love it fully, where most animes has a protagonist. And you can make an argument that Natsu is a protagonist. I would say you're wrong, because there are several like arcs that don't really focus on Natsu in a way. Besides like the last one heavily like sort of like, but I think that's because there was the END, and that sort of like wraps up his thing. I feel like what people are saying is true, where there is no main protagonist, because Fairytail as a whole is the protagonist. And this more, so like, I like this. I like where this is going. I feel like it's not going to be as long as Fairytail was, because Fairytail was long. But I really did enjoy this, and I really do think you will enjoy this, and you should watch this. It is so good. And maybe I should watch Fairytail and then do that. I don't know, but I love Fairytail so much. So yeah. So I hope you enjoy, and good night.